Welcome back to the episode of Shia Proceed. Have you missed me? Because I've missed all of you. I've been gone for almost 2 months now, but much needed break originally. And now we're dealing with isolation and quarantining with this new pandemic. Let's just call it what it is, COVID-19. But I try to look at everything as a blessing in disguise. So with that being said, I had to get back in the seat, get behind the microphone, and do what I love to do. So let's kick off this first show ever for me from the comforts of my home with the amazing Jason Phillips. This show is going to be discussing our mental health and wellness during COVID-19. I think it's really important now that today is actually Friday, April 17th, and President Trump and governors are deciding to open back up each state slowly, and the governors are deciding how they're going to do that. So I think it's really important, and it's kind of interesting that I have Jason on today to discuss our mental wellness prior to, during, and after COVID. So who is Jason? Who is this amazing man, this face you see here on the screen? Jason is a licensed therapist, life coach, lecturer, advocate for positivity, prosperity, wellness, strength in individuals, couples, families, communities. He has helped friends of mine. He's helped me. He's absolutely amazing. He's been working in the field over 10 years now, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
And young man, he's a young man. Mental health is really, your core, and coaching profession, experience in treatment for. So you want people to work on expert in evidence-based treatment for setting your goals. I don't know what that is. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll get into it.
It sounds real technical. You go on IG and you do live coaching, and you have great guests that come on all the time talking about, what we can do in this world of mental wellness. And I wanted to have you on because, one, you've made my first 2 seasons absolutely amazing. I consider you
Thank you.
family now to the show. You're welcome anytime. I respect your mind and where you're coming from. And I really want to talk to you about a few things because life is changing for all of us. And it happened like life usually does, at a blink of an eye, out of our control. And I know for me, realizing that I am a slight type A personality, slightly controlling in my life. You like to know what's going on, and relinquishing that type of power is hard sometimes. So I want to talk to you and get your perspective on life during COVID, after COVID, and how to cope with those things. So welcome, Jason.
Hey, thanks, E. I'm excited to be back though. I'm honest. I was so sad that I couldn't come there in person. I was supposed to be there
The
3
27th.
weeks, the
Yeah.
27th. So, when things open back up, I'll still be out there.
Absolutely. And you're always welcome. You're always welcome.
Yeah.
We were like, I was going to bring you back, Antoine, Caleb,
I know.
Marlon, everybody, that crew that did the men's wellness. I want to have all of you back just to kind of end out season 2 and kick off season 3, because I had thought about a long time ago wanting to do this season based on health and wellness. And just what we're going through makes it even more important. And I don't want to exhaust the whole COVID corona thing, but it is our way of life now. And after the announcement today of phasing in, opening up real life, it's going to be our life for quite some time. And I feel last week and this week has become very personal for a lot of people. They may actually know someone who is infected, or know someone who's passed away from COVID-19. So the jokes and the funniness of how people cope is diminishing quite a bit, and is getting into a much more serious situation. How have you been during this time in your family?
My family, thank God everybody's been pretty good. But I'm here in North Carolina, but I'm from Detroit. And Michigan is getting hit hard. So I know personally, 2 at least 2 or 3 good close friends. A couple of family members had the virus. They recovered. A friend of mine from some time ago unfortunately passed away from the disease.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, I mean, it's definitely hit home. That's for sure. Not only people being affected with their personal lives, but then their health. I know people who have either lost somebody, I know friends have lost husbands, friends have lost parents, just people we know. So it's real. It's very, very real. And it's still pretty scary too. Now that we're opening back up, which I think is like kind of like on a whim. And I think a lot of us are still in shock processing, like, what does open up mean? How is this going to look?
Yeah. And I know for me, I think I feel, in my opinion, opening up 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, people have been like, yeah, open up. But now that, like you're saying, things are hitting really close, the degree separation is closer and closer. You have people right now, look at social media. I'm not leaving the house. I'm not going anywhere. The blessing is not having school start until fall. That's the blessing. And it's trying to figure out, some states are trying to figure out how to do virtual graduation for the kids, which is great. But opening up, and I know businesses that aren't considered essential are suffering, but there has to be a different way. I'm wondering if it's because money is running out and government doesn't want to give any more money, or whatever it may be. You had people yesterday in Texas at the state capitol on Governor Abbott's doorstep talking about open up, every job is essential. But how is every job, every business essential if you're not going to put in place, okay, we'll open up, but this is what we'll do to make sure everyone is safe.
Right.
I think there needs to be a game plan. So with all of this going on, pretty much kicking off for everyone really in March, even though COVID's been around since 2019, November, December 2019, in other areas officially, which people are thinking now it's been here for a lot longer. With everything happening, I wanted to ask you, my first question for you would be, what should we be looking out for within ourselves during this time? And we'll go into essential workers, parents, teachers, educational staff, and also those students. What should we be looking out for during this time?
So let's start with essential workers.
Okay.
Those of us who have to, go in and interact and still provide services, provide care, whatever that may be. Number one, I will say, if you are essential, make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Now, what does that look like? Because a lot of, people I know who work in the healthcare field, myself included, it's overwhelming. It just honestly is. And I was having a conversation with my cousin. This was when the virus kind of first got like more on the news and in the media. We were just kind of talking about it. And that's when the memes were coming around. It was still kind of somewhat comical because we weren't taking it serious. And he said, no, look, man. He said, this is some shit you don't want to play with. He was very, very blunt. He said it's taking people out. It's taking young people out. It's taking older people. He said this virus is horrific. This was before we started getting the actual numbers, because he's working in a hospital. He's a nurse. So another conversation after just kind of warning us, family and friends, we had another conversation. He said, man, it's tough, going in there, seeing people dying, seeing people on ventilators. Staff don't want to help. We don't have enough equipment, proper protection equipment. So all of these things were starting to get to him. So, and watching, I think in general, it's tough when you're in healthcare and a patient dies, but then when it happens so suddenly, so rapidly,
this is not like control. You feel like
it's out of your control.
Right.
And it was taking a mental toll on him. Mm-hmm. So I think for essential workers, we have to, when I say take care of yourself, really just have awareness. Like, how am I being impacted? I know you're going to work. We're trying to, be as safe as we can, use all the proper precautions, but check in with yourself. If you don't have a therapist, if you don't have a coach, somebody to talk to, you may want to consider it, because again, it's affecting you and I on a different level than the essential workers who are actually hands-on. I mean, you say yourself, you're a type A personality. For people who like to be in control and kind of be by the book, have safety protocols, if you wash your hands, 3, 4, 5 times a day, now you're washing them 25, 30 times a day. That's a lot mentally, because now you're double checking everything. So for essential workers, make sure you take care of yourself. Make sure you have some time, even though you are, still performing your duties. Check in, take days off when you need to too, because at the end of the day, you're no good to anybody if you're really not taking care of yourself like you need to.
I just wonder if, and I just wonder how helpless they may feel. Because you have all this training, you're educated in this field to help people, to heal people with modern day, and also your spirits, and being, bedside manner, not just the medicine part, but just what you bring to your patients. And just thinking of the helplessness that they may feel, just knowing that I don't have the supplies that I need. I can't get the supplies that I need. Then to still, many of them have, I mean, I know personally, you may know, personally as well, families to go home to. Then they got to worry about bringing anything home beyond, like your regular job is one thing, but COVID has just morphed into this airborne, and you don't know what's on you. It's on be on you for hours, all of this, and you can't tell a patient stay away, and just the mental toll that's going to take on someone when this is what you live for, to care for people, take care of people. And I was wondering, how are you taking care of yourself? How are you maintaining good wellness? Because it's draining.
It is.
It's draining. So what should they do daily to kind of center themselves to?
I think having some type of self-care routine, making sure, whether that's like taking walks in the morning, taking walks in the evening, praying, meditating, journaling, something that's on a routine schedule, so that you can, you look forward to it, and that's your time to get centered and release things, release emotions. I would also encourage essential workers to consider joining a support group.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember when I worked in hospice, we had a support group specifically for nurses assistants, because they were going through things and they were like hands-on, and they were just feeling all the stress and anxiety, and they were burnt out. So we had a support group just for them. That reminds me of what the essential workers are going through now, whereas things that other people can't relate to, and they need this to be able to have the energy and the wherewithal to go in and day out.
Absolutely. And do you think it's hard at this time? Let's say they never had a self-care routine. Many of us don't. It's a new thing. Self-care is kind of new term. Many people who work in those fields aren't used to taking care of themselves, taking care of everyone else. So do you think it may be difficult if they never had that type of? I never had a self-care routine. I didn't develop one until probably 2 years ago, forced by my niece to do something for myself, right? And I find it very difficult to take care of myself, and I am nowhere near the field of work they do. But I find it very hard as a natural caretaker and a caregiver to think about myself, that I have to say stop and think about yourself. So if you've never had that implemented in your life and you're an essential worker, how do you start that process?
I think starting it, just like you said, knowing that it's going to be difficult. Like knowing that, okay, this feels foreign, I'm not used to this. And so don't even though it may not feel normal and it may feel kind of foreign, and you're like, should I really do this? Do I really need it? I mean, there's so much other things I could be doing, and so many other people who are really suffering. This is the time to, be selfish and just do it, knowing that, if you're, whatever your self-care routine looks like, it's going to feel really awkward, but afterwards you'll need it. I mean, you'll thank yourself. It's kind of like going to the gym when you don't know, you just walk in there, you don't know what to work out. You're like, okay, he doing this, she's doing that. But after you leave, you're like, okay, that was cool.
Yeah, that's true. Cool. You do feel like, okay, that was a good release.
But you don't feel that until you leave.
Oh, absolutely not. You're cursing everybody out when you're doing it. I've seen the videos. You're like, he's trying to kill me. Yeah. But you feel good afterwards. You feel accomplished. And I will say the release that your brain gets is really, really nice. So yes. Workers to start journaling, finding some way to just, before they get their day started, and also when they end their day, find a moment to release all of that and put themselves first for a moment and just think about themselves and just, it's hard. If you don't have it set up, set something up for yourself and just journal, like you say, release it. Go for a walk, exercise, whatever it is that is your time. Soak in the bathtub, and take that time, close everything off. And hopefully if you have family, they'll understand you need that time. Speaking of family, the parents right now dealing with at home. You and I are not in that situation, right?
No.
But we have friends who are, and they're losing their minds. Okay, especially when they find out today, oh no, school out for the rest of the year. You thought they're gonna come back?
Right. I know they yeah.
Oh no, you got them now and all summer. Yeah. Because there may not be any summer camps, there may not be any of those things. So if it's not school related, which football does their stuff in summertime, like July, what? So you got?
I know it's a long time. It's a while for I know parents personally, and you do too, they're struggling.
Oh yeah, they're struggling. And so what can parents do? Because I find it hilarious.
Yeah, we can.
No, I find it funny, not for all, but for some who are struggling. And what they're complaining about is because I have lots of my friends, best friends, my tribe who are educators, okay? Either they're in the classroom or they're like in administration in some way. They was in the classroom, they were in the classroom, now they're like training teachers, principals, assistant principals, whatever, coaching, all of them. And, a lot of this happened when they were on spring break. Like they were on their spring break, my week.
Right. And it got extended.
And then the extension happened to where they had to now implement the next 4 to 6 weeks or even end of school year for an online module for these kids. And they have kids with special education who graduating this year, all this up in the air for these kids. We'll get to the educators later. So now the parents, like,
what do they do?
What do I do? And this is before that happened, before the total shutdown happened, where everyone was either working from home or essential. So how do parents, or let me say this though, what I find funny about it is, I think, and they can come for me all they want, I think some parents are really delusional about their children. And I feel that some educators, some teachers get the hardest rap. Why my child don't know? Well, now you know how hard your child really is working or not working.
Right.
And you're learning your kids and yourself in this situation in a whole new light. My friends are getting emails nonstop from parents like, should they have this much work? Should they be? Well, it's so what do parents who are now in a new situation juggling homeschooling, and some probably still are maybe essential or just working from home, what do they do to handle this COVID-19 situation?
I mean, really, they need to reach out to other parents too. Like they need to form their own support groups. They need to have their own Zoom calls and chats, because like when we did the mental health and wellness with the other brothers, there was so much knowledge amongst us all. And we had different ideas. We could relate. You're like, oh man, you two, sharing stories. So just having that type of support system, I think is really going to be key, because they're going to have to get creative. Like, they're going to have to get creative and start doing things that they weren't doing, sharing ideas, sharing things that, oh, this is working for me. Okay, let me try this too. Like, it has to happen. I think that, with the social distancing, we can't turn that into social isolation.
Right.
Because think about it, when you are stuck with your kids all day, and you don't have like the normal adult interaction, sometimes you can start to, miss that type of adult conversation.
Mm-hmm.
But then the way you respond to people and the way you engage, it's not always on that same adult level, because you used to being around your kids and teaching. So I think it's important, is much more important, or just as important, for them to still get that human adult interaction, and they have to share with each other what's working. Be open to it. Like, as much as your kids are, dragging you down and you are ready to pull your hair out, you have to you got to reach out to some other people.
And it's
That's
really
the bottom
important.
line.
I think this is when the PTA becomes important again. I think when you get that mom and dad call log that you've been avoiding, as if you're that parent who'd avoided, I don't got time for that. You're gonna have time in these next 8 weeks. You better make time. Your kids need help. They're doing some newfound math that no one knows. They're learning things in junior high that we learned in high school and college.
Yep.
And if you've been out of school for a while, you feeling real inadequate right now. But I think, as antisocial or anti whatever you may be as a parent, this is your time to really reevaluate how you communicate with your children, how they
Definitely.
communicate with you, your child's behavior towards others. Where is it coming from? What's going on? No fault of anyone. It's just looking at, okay, what can I do now to reshape this and show appreciation
Yeah.
for something? So I agree with you. They need to call other parents, and if they have to sit down and vent with a glass of wine or some scotch in their hand, say, "What the hell, these kids? My child's a
So,
monster. Is your
so
monster?"
people people who can really help them out will be, of course, other teachers, because teachers that I know that love their profession, they're struggling because they're not interacting with the kids. So if you can get that teacher's number, maybe they already have some resources for you, or some tips and tricks that you can implement right now.
Yeah.
Also, people who are already homeschooling, if you know somebody who is already doing it, I mean, some of us do, some of us don't. This is time to reach out to them too,
That's a
because
great idea. Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah.
and don't try to, like, I know kids are in school for 6 to 8 hours a day. Don't try to mimic that at home. Like,
I think that's been the
don't try it.
issue. I think that's really been the issue for a lot of parents, trying to make those kids just sit there, and they're like, you forget they have lunch, there's a study hall, or there's a sports, there's recess. In that
Yeah,
in that day, they're only probably in class a full maybe 4 hours at
right.
the
And
most.
think about it too. I mean, we were in school. We're not always like engaged and studious the whole time. We're talking, we're texting, we're getting out of class, we're going to the bathroom. All this stuff that we were doing, now they're just doing it at home, and the parents can't believe
Yeah, they're like losing their minds. Like, what's going
it.
on? And I
Yeah,
just
so
think it's interesting. I think, and I love the fact that it's a realization of who you are, who your children are becoming, and things you may want to nip in the bud, things you may want to say, my child is freaking amazing, or my child may need extra help with something, or maybe whatever it is. I think it really is a time of discovery. And maybe the first few weeks they were losing their mind, but I think they're finding their stride now. But I do think what you're saying is great advice on reach out to those teachers, because on social media, I have a friend, I have one particular friend who's a teacher, one of my best friends, and she made a post saying, and also Janae from Confession on a Red Couch, she's an educator. She's like,
okay.
and she made a post saying, if you need help with your children's work in this subject, because she's like a scientist, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Reach out to me. We have another friend who's a tutor, Ashley. She's like, reach out to me. My friend who's an educator, she does training of the teachers, like, reach out to me. We're here. And I hope people utilize those people, because like you said, some people love what they do and they miss their students, and they want to make sure those kids, because you don't know what this may do to those kids' grades, them being at home.
That's the thing too. Like, definitely reach out to a tutor, parents, if you need to, because if your child was kind of like BC, kind of struggling in some things, and they're not going to hold all these kids back. Mm-hmm. So you would hate for your child now to develop this pattern of, being inefficient in some area or deficient, and then just continuing to decline, continuing to get passed on. And you and I know what that looks like when you get into adult life, because you didn't get the help way back when.
It's so
that's
noticeable.
When you get the misspelled
these kids don't want it to be passed on. They want to have the tools, just like kids want discipline. They don't want to just run around crazy. They want to have discipline. So
they want structure.
Parents, please reach out to educators, reach out to fellow parents, talk to people. there's the support group around the world right now is real. We're all going through the same thing. So it's not like you say, well, I'm by myself. You're not by yourself. You are not alone. Like
the entire world. I have some people I work with in outside of the US, and everybody is shut down right now.
And it's hard. So we talked about the parents. What about the educational staff? Now they go from being in the classroom 5 days a week, home on weekends, grading stuff, building assignments, all these things, to now putting everything online, working remotely, not having the interaction from the kids. How do they cope through this COVID-19 situation?
Yeah, they have to they have to be really innovative and creative. They have to be. I think what I'm seeing now is that they're doing more classroom, like Zoom classes and things where people are actually still gathering in small groups or whatever the platform can hold. I think as creative as the teachers can be and the educators, the better, because they are, even though they're not in a class teaching, as we said, they are really, really needed. Like, they're needed now more than before, because again, my concern is the kids who are struggling. And I've talked to colleagues and things who have said, look, my son or daughter was already not doing the greatest. So if I can get a tutor or if I can get some one-on-one, I will gladly do that.
And I think the hard part, though, I think with tutoring, I know for me, I was better with the one-on-one, physical one-on-one. It was almost like they'd have to do tutoring in a new way, where they have to Zoom since you're social distancing.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that some kids and some educators do better with that kind of, they feed off the interaction with the kids right there. And I know today, I think a friend of mine was saying that they felt so good. They had an actual Zoom meeting with their kids, like, hey, and all the kids looking at them on Zoom. They felt really good about that. So
I think for all of us, you and I included, we're finding out that, and we already knew, like, I've been on your show a couple times, but it's always been through virtual session, and I did not want that. But the quality of your content and the things that I'm sharing did not change because I'm here and you're there.
That's true.
At the end of the day, it did not, it may have felt a little different, but once we get to talking and going, the norm is there. It's already set. So what I'm trying to say is that even though traditionally when I had a tutor or when I've tutored, it's been, I'm sitting right next to you and I'm looking over your shoulder and we drawing this out and things. That's how we used to do it. And it worked spontaneously, it worked miraculously. But now we have to do things different. And I think we'll find out that, or we are finding out, that we can be just as effective, even if it's through Zoom or Microsoft Team or whatever, because now I can share my screen with you and you can see what I'm typing or writing.
Yeah.
And you can walk me through it that way. So as awkward as it feels, even for therapy and coaching, like I've always done virtual sessions, but now for a lot of therapists, for a lot of clients, they're like, this is different. But when you get the service, I'm the same person, you're the same person.
It takes getting used to, absolutely. But I
Yeah.
think for the educators, the difference for them is it's only like an 8-week thing without their kids.
Mm-hmm.
Summertime was coming anyway, so their adjustment may be a little bit different, you know. But I
Mm-hmm.
think I agree with you. There's ways of still having that type of connection with your students that you can look into. It may not be the same physical, but once you get going, it feels like you're sitting right next to me, Jason, even though you're 8 minutes late.
Exactly.
See, I threw that in there, that slug.
That's
So,
it. Yeah.
so we spoke about the adults in the situation for COVID, but let's talk about the ones that no one's really talking about, the
Mm-hmm.
kids.
Yeah.
Not the babies who've been going to daycare all day, like the kids who went to school and they were actually at the age, let's say elementary, where they're forming those relationships, forming those friendships, learning that my house is different than somebody else's house, and my family thinks one way, and this is something totally different. And having that favorite teacher they may have been going to see, or having recess and playing on the in the playground. Junior high, just starting to do sports. You know what I mean? Like you're trying
Mm-hmm.
to do things. You're coming into who you are as a young man or young woman. High school kids who were freshmen or sophomore, juniors, high school seniors who are like
Yeah.
top 10 or class president or vice president, or just, oh my God, I took my SAT, then get ready for college. I'm doing my stuff. This is it. The only blessed thing for us in Texas, they eliminated the testing for the rest of the year. So the kids don't have to
Okay.
worry about that. But have you heard anything where you are or noticed anything of the kids? I know they're depressed about like prom and graduation, not being able to
Yeah.
walk, and what should they do?
I'm just trying to put myself in their shoes. Like I know how important senior year was for me.
Mhm.
Like that was one of the best years of my life. Honestly, if I'll be honest, it really was. I had an amazing time with my friends. The homecoming, the senior picnic, the graduation, the parties. That summer after graduating, all the time I spent with my friends, and just knowing that they won't be able to do any of that, or it's going to be different.
It's different.
So I think we really have to do two things with the kids. We have to validate and empathize, with them. We have to show empathy. We have to validate what they're feeling. Again, it's hard, but if we just think about if we were robbed of our senior year, or even if you're not a senior, maybe you graduated 8th grade, or you going to high school for the first year, first time, or so all these things, like no matter what the age of the kids, just think about being robbed of that social interaction and all the stuff that comes with it.
What's funny to me is we have a generation of kids who are so social but yet antisocial. They go out, they're in their phone, like,
Yeah.
everything's a text or a video or whatever. They don't really interact the way I'm older than you.
Mm-mm.
The way I used to. I don't know how old are you, Jason?
I'm 35.
Oh, you a baby. So like they don't interact the way we used to interact. You know what I mean?
Right.
I had a pager back in the day. So, we didn't have the whole cell phone thing when we had to call and three-way and add and all that kind of stuff, and just we had actual interactions.
Yeah.
The kids now, you take them to dinner, and adults do it also, not just the kids. We're in a society of you're in your phone. So I hope I agree with everything you say. We have to realize, let them feel what they're feeling and try to put ourselves in their shoes and what they're going through. It may not seem like a lot to us and not do what our parents or grandparents did. Well, when I was younger, it really is different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't,
Yeah.
nothing has come around that took away a coming of age situation for some people.
Right.
Graduations are coming of age, going to another grade, playing your first sport. Not basketball. Track got cut. Track got cut in the middle of the season. Basketball got
Yeah.
cut in the middle of the season.
So like even people that I know who are like going for track scholarships and basketballs, they were like filming themselves just out there balling, you know, they like what's his name on Above the Rim? Remember when he was hooping on? That's how they like Shepherd. They like Shepherd, you know, out there. So that's different.
Yeah, because you know the kids who played football or volleyball, even basketball, had enough games to show their skill.
Yeah.
Now, if you're real good, you already had your scholarship set up since fall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But like, you know, but like if you're track going to state, Texas relays in Texas.
Yep.
Come on.
And I didn't know until, like I said, the people that I know who are going for those track scouts, they're like, yeah, we had big meets coming up and this was coming up. I'm like, wow.
The Olympics.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So we just have to be mindful. And the good thing about it is it's not just one state going through it. We're all going through it. So doing your video, showing what you are able to do will come from many students. And hopefully they will still get what they deserve in that area. But it's heartbreaking. It really is heartbreaking because some people needed those. Some students needed those last, even if it wasn't for scholarships, just the interaction with fellow students. And I just hope when we come out of this, because we will, students will have a different appreciation for communicating, appreciation for interacting with family. You know, because you can only be that angry kid in the house for so long because you stuck.
Right.
You want to be vexed for so long. And I was thinking the other day that with this whole COVID-19 corona thing, I just hope we come out of this better communicators. You know what I mean? And I know you sound real hopeful. Yeah. But I just, you know, because
I mean, I think we'll be intentional about it.
Much more intentional about it, because now you can't communicate with touch. That's right. It has to be talk. It has to be something different. And if you go missing for too long, you're okay, because now something could be wrong. You know what I mean? But
yeah, that's true. That is true.
I'm hopeful that we come out of this better communicators. I was thinking the other day, though, and it's a little bit off topic, but on topic. With everything going on, Jason, and you're the professional, are you surprised at the increase or the rumbling of like people breaking up or getting together? I have seen an influx of engagements, an influx of marriages, like people who had weddings planned out later in the year when they had said, let's just to piece it and forget that foolishness. We're gonna just go to the JP, kiss, and we're done. I've seen people getting engaged during this and married, like engaged one week, next week. I'm like, oh shit, okay.
They getting it done.
They're getting it done. So are you surprised by that big increase relationship changes?
I'm not. I'm a little surprised about the engagements and the marriages. I've seen a couple of those.
You've seen that?
I saw a couple of that. I was like, okay, but so I'm not surprised about the opposite. You know, people been
they've been breaking up.
They've been breaking up. Yeah, they've been breaking up. People been breaking up. So I think people get to know each other a little bit more.
The beast,
and they're like, you know, but because you know, imagine if you and your spouse were both you know, working, and maybe y'all had different schedules, so you really didn't see them, and now you both working from home, and it's like, hey, you know, you in my way, you know. And over time, that people get kind of irritable, and I don't think everybody's getting irritable. Everybody's somewhat anxious. You know, things are elevated for all of us, but I think it's highlighting that some of us can kind of talk through it, and we can say, okay, all right, babe, let me take a walk, or you go to sleep, or let me get something to eat. And then other people are just like clashing.
And I think the sad thing, and so there's extremes where there's abuse going on as well, which is really, really sad. And, you know, you worry about those kids who are in those environments that school was their escape, or women and men who are in an environment where work was their escape, and the work was the way to keep the person calm.
Right.
that's a whole nother side of it that is truly disheartening. But it's funny how this situation has exposed so many truths about yourself and who you're involved with. And either you work through it because we're stuck in the house, so let's talk about what's going on, or you know what, we really aren't meant to be together, or we've really grown apart, or we're really totally different. And
well, I think it's like what you said. People, we hope that now we can be better communicators.
Yeah,
I think that's what we hope for. That's what we hope for.
So my next question for you, professional, what habits do we need to be mindful of picking up coming out of this storm? Is the first part of that question. And what have you noticed has been the constant red flag for society right now in this COVID?
I'm gonna start with this. The constant red flag, I think, for everybody now is that what are we gonna do when the world opens back up? I think the red flag is like people staying home and people being the anxiety just being super, super high about do I go to a potluck? Do I go to, do I bring my own plate? Do I bring my own food?
Wow. Yeah.
Like I've seen a lot of posts like that. That's why I'm saying that. Where people are saying like, see, this is why I don't. And I get it, but I think that red flag is going to put a damper on us, like just being able to interact and engage. And we're going to be overly cautious. I understand that, but I think we got to monitor, are we still engaging and are we still enjoying one another? Because I think when you start not, going places with people, like, if I say, I'll come out there, but everywhere I go, hey, if everything is so distant, you might feel some sort of way like, okay, does he really rock with me? Are we cool? Are we not? So I think just kind of be mindful of that.
The anxiety is high. The anxiety is high. And, we need each other. Contact is important.
It is.
You need friendships. You need community. No matter how introverted you may be, you still need some type of connection. And it's interesting to see what all of us handle things so differently. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and the guy said, he's like, hey, I didn't care about anything. My food could fall on the floor. What 3-second rule? I'm eating that mess. Whatever. I hug people, whatever. He said, but now, just watching movies and seeing someone hug, he's like, oh, they're hugging. He's like, I had to catch myself saying, what am I doing to myself? He says, I'm at the point now where I'm so paranoid, but trying not to show the family how paranoid he is. The fact of the heightened worry of, I know my front yard, or what's beyond that. You know what I mean?
Right.
And everything is happening, trying not to force upon people my own anxiety. Like for me, I haven't had anxiety about it. I haven't.
Okay.
I haven't. I'm like, I have I've stayed home. If I need to go out, I go out. I wasn't one of those people out there buying a bunch of stuff. I only went to the store because I say, you know what, people are right now. And luckily I work in an environment where our boss was like, okay, if y'all need to get anything, you better go during,
early.
Early. And I mean, it's just me by myself in the house. You know what I mean? So I had to make sure I was good. I had to worry about making anybody meal. I was like, you know what? I'm introverted anyway. I don't really hang out like that. I don't need a crowd to energize. I energize in my downtime. And so I just a heed to what's going on. I talk to my friends. We have a group chat. You know what I mean? I check on my family. But it's different from me because I haven't allowed this to dictate my life. My concern, my anxiety comes in other people's extra.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like don't force upon me your extra. Or for me, it was like this. It's not, even though I'm fine, I know I have to do things to make everyone else comfortable. So if I go to a store, I'll put a mask on. You know what I mean? Before I hand somebody my credit card, I put sanitizer on my hands. Then I hand them my credit card, because I know, for one, they're in an environment dealing with people every day. I make sure that when I'm out, I give people their space, because not for my own personal, get away from me. Like, you know what? Let me be mindful, because I'm going to respect your space. Because I know people have been saying on television, it's not even if you don't agree or don't believe, just like when you drive, and you're driving for other people.
Right.
I try to be mindful of that, but I've never, my sister was going crazy.
Well, okay, so I've seen that, both ways, where people that I work with were going really crazy in the beginning, and I'm trying to, kind of, hey, let's take it day by day, and then as cases increase, they're like, see, I told you.
Yeah.
And then, things have kind of died down. So here, in North Carolina, things have not gotten that. It's not like I'm in New York, Jersey, Michigan, any of the hot spots. So I do think we have to be cautious of basically how other people are responding, because I don't think I'm like you, where my anxiety has not been too bad. I do wear the mask. I do wear gloves at times, depending on where I'm going. But I follow all of those protocols. But I do feel, I feel bad for the people who are in the hotspot areas, and they don't know. I mean, it's just so prevalent where they're at. So, here in North Carolina, we kind of already spaced out, and it's probably the same way in Texas, where we're not on top of each other in certain places. So,
but see, I'm kind of like in the Houston area.
Oh, yeah. See, and I didn't get a chance to explore that yet.
But I live outside. I live east of Houston, and the problem was certain locations are getting crowded. Grocery stores are getting crowded because people were. I was like, "Why? Who's shopping every day?" Like it was like it was crowded. But now we go to the store, it's people are scattered. There's no one on top. So it's like now it's kind of like dying down. Got what you need. It's cool, but now going forward, I think they're going to implement. You must wear a mask. I know in Dallas and Austin or San Antonio, the mayors there said you were wearing a mask when you walk out the house. Like it's mandatory. Mask is on. And my dad's in California, and the governor has given people permission, owners of businesses, to refuse you if you don't have a mask on. Like if you're not wearing a mask, you're not coming into the store. And
I think it's gonna be a lot of changes. There's like, no shirt, no service.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be
I think
no mask, no gloves, no service. And also, people can't get irate and get in your face. You better give me, because once you give people space, now you're in the wrong.
Right.
And I'm a librarian. I work in a library where people come in who need help, who aren't really great at giving you personal space.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how we're going to try to, help people again. And then, she was telling us, my boss was saying, when it comes to computer help, make sure they can't get that one-on-one, because I need to give you space.
That's going to be tough. That's going to be tough, because when you that's a whole other subject. But what was the first part? Because I forgot now. I was trying to remember the first part of the question.
Sorry. What happens to you? Do we need to be mindful of picking up coming out of this storm?
Okay. The basics. So paying attention to our sleep habits. Mm-hmm. Sleeping in too late. Not getting enough sleep because you're overly consumed with what's going on. Mm-hmm. So the sleep is a big one, because that's the first sign that something is off with us. Mm-hmm. If we can't fall asleep, if we're waking up throughout the night, again, or we're sleeping so late where we're groggy and just not ourselves. So pay very, very close attention to, our rising times and how much sleep we're getting. Second, go ahead.
Is that the biggest thing? You're
That's the big, yeah, that's a huge one. Because it lets us know when something is off.
Okay.
Our sleep, if we think about it. Our eating habits. You know, picking up too much weight, or we're staying in the kitchen, or we don't want to go out, or we don't want to eat, period. I think just our relationship with food, as I was talking with Dr. Ebony about this the other day.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, we have to really pay attention to that, because again, these are some normal things. You know, we're at home, and next thing you know, it's nothing to do. So you open a cabinet, open a refrigerator, it's the same food that was there 20 minutes ago, but you looking for something else. So you're just like, you know what? Let me just get these chips, or let me get this cake.
I will say this, and I don't mean to cross you.
No, you good.
I had to admit to myself a long time ago that I have a very bad relationship with food, meaning I stress eat or I boredom eat. And I am surprised that since I've been home, I have not done any of that.
Well, I mean, not to say that this is a bad thing, but you also don't seem stressed right now.
I'm chilling. So
I mean, that's good.
Because I've really tried a few years ago. And honestly, after the end of 2019, I told myself, everything right now is a blessing for me. You know, and I look at everything for a reason. I'm not saying that COVID is a great thing. I'm not saying that at all. But I look at the reset on life is a good thing. I didn't lose no weight. I lost about 6 pounds, right? But you know, but still I could have been sitting here just cooking all day, eating all day. But I have eaten 3 square meals a day. I've snacked healthy. I went to the store. I only bought some ice cream bars. Other than that, everything is, I have my fruit. I took this time to say, you know what, if I'm going to be in the house, I'm going to do better. I told myself, I need to come out of this with better credit. I need to come out of this with my nest egg a little bit fatter. I need to come out of this because, one, I am so blessed to be one of the few still working.
Yeah.
I'm blessed because I only have my own mouth to feed and no one else's. I'm blessed because my family is all safe and okay. So I can't, how dare I fall into nonsense?
But your perspective on all of that is amazing. I mean, one, I think it's tough. Like, I eat pretty healthy, but when I'm on a schedule, it's easy. Like when I go to work or I do this, I know on the weekend I'm going to do this, but when I'm at home all day, it's just like nothing but time. It's, space. So for you to do that and stay so disciplined and actually be intentional and follow through, that's what's up. That's a really good thing to that's a good habit to continue.
And I'm not trying to even toot my own horn, but I told myself, if I don't come out of this with a better habit in one area of life, I'm just bad to myself.
Now I've seen so many posts. I agree with you on this, but I've seen so many people talk about just getting through this is enough. But I got to be honest. Like, I do think that this is a time to reflect. I don't say you have to have a better routine, a better this, but I think we're gonna get through it some way.
Absolutely.
But if you can have like an attitude like yours and do, even if it's just one single thing different, that's a lot in itself.
Yeah, like I said, my sister, she was totally freaking out. Like, my dad lives in California, and before all this happened, he wanted to come for a visit, and it just wasn't lining up. You know what I mean? And I really feel things happen for Rika. He'd been stuck here with me. But just everything lined up. She's like, we gotta go get daddy. Like, when she heard California was whatever was going on in California, we gotta go get daddy. What do you mean we gotta go get daddy? Like, we gotta go get daddy. Because when San Francisco or San Diego shut down,
Yeah.
Was it San Diego? When they shut down.
Oh, that's right. They were one of the first to actually shut down.
They shut down, like, don't leave your house. Shut down.
That's right. They shut down. They did. They sure did.
And that right there freaked her out. My dad's in Inglewood, up to no good Inglewood, okay? Down the street from Compton. Okay? So she's like, we gotta go get dad. So you want to drive to go get daddy? Because I'm not flying in a plane. I'm not getting in a plane now for a while. That's one thing.
Right.
Erlene's not getting in a plane. If I can't drive there, I'm not going in some recycled air for a minute. That's just off top. I said, you want me to hop in a vehicle and we'll drive to get daddy? Yes. I said, you want me to drive through the state of Texas to go through other states we gotta stop. And we gotta stop because he can't drive for that long. And then and then he gonna be with me. So I gotta buy more groceries.
And if he's older, I mean, he probably might have to make more stops.
Yeah, he's 70 something. Bad circulation. Gotta walk around sometimes.
Yeah.
And forget all that. He's set in his ways. He's 70 something. He's set in his ways. And he was fine. Like, I'm good. Just call him every day. But the anxiety, she finally calmed down. But I think for her, work helped that because she's working from home. But don't put on me your anxiety. Don't put on me your frustration. Plus, calm down, man. Don't. But I had to learn through this because I apologized to her the next day. She called me with that. I went plumb. Jason, I was. My words can be ruthless. They're dead.
I can only imagine.
Because I'm coming at you with facts, but I will slice you up.
You're a straight shooter.
I am real direct and blunt, and be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But I said, "Listen, I'm sorry, sister. I'm sorry," and I'm the youngest. I said, "Sister, I'm sorry." So I had to call all of my siblings. You heard your sister? Now she'll belong to me. Your sister want to get your daddy. You know, like that. But I had called. I said, "I apologize because I know you're dealing differently than I am. I accept it. I hear you. We're still not going to go get daddy." She's like, "I understand, and you're right because he'll be with you because he don't want to stay here, and I understand." Yes. So I've learned patience through this time.
I see. It sounds like you put the niece from the Clark sisters. That's gonna put you out the group.
You thought the sun. Okay.
But that's good though. But just pay attention to our sleeping habits, our eating habits, and lastly, just how much are we interacting with folks? Like, not we can't talk. I mean, we can't hug and dap them up, but how much are you talking, doing FaceTime? It's really important that we have these. That's why a lot of people. So many people are going live now. Like, everybody's going live, right? When before, people weren't going live like that.
No.
Not like now. I mean, I saw Oprah went live last night. I was like, wow.
Oprah? The good old? Yeah. She had a whole, I want to say, I think it may have not been last night, but I know she had a whole meeting or like a little live town hall talking about something. I don't know, but it was something she was talking about. I'm like, okay, live. Look at you.
Yeah, I mean, so we got to keep up. It's getting to people. If you think about, us being quarantined and social distancing, this reminds, I mean, I know somebody I heard Ellen made the phrase that it's like being in prison, which it's not that, but it's not prison. I mean, and I didn't take offense to it. Like, I think some other people
did. Yeah.
But if you think when they put somebody in solitary confinement, what is that for? And what does that do to them? For people like yourself who are at home and people who maybe they're not working, so they don't have anybody to actually report to or report to them, that is going to be real. Or you have a job where you can, just type and send stuff and never actually have conversations. That's going to mess you up and do something to you psychologically for, long periods of time, especially if this is not something that you asked for.
I know you and I talked about this a few months ago where I was telling you, I think it's odd when people don't have friends. And I think it's odd, like you need interaction, even though I am antisocial. My best friend will tell you, man, Erlene she the one who say, okay, I'm coming, and like go back.
Erlene cancel.
Oh yeah. If it's I'm there, but I was like, what time is it again? What you want me to do? But I just really feel that you need, because during this time, you need people to reach out to you or to know I can reach out to someone and check on them. Like, how you doing? You good? How's the family? So I think it's good to have that. And you don't want to stay closed off. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think you answered my last few questions. I was going to ask you how to maintain the good habits that we've started, but how do we maintain the good habits we started? Because some people are going to go batshit crazy after this when they say we open, and it's like
I mean, I think thinking about the people who are struggling with this, like you said, being conscious not of just how we feel, but other people. So maintain those habits, because it's like sometimes, and I'm a pretty neat person, but I think like some people, when they are in an environment and they see people practicing like clean behaviors, and they're like, okay, let me keep their house clean because that's how they roll. They don't do it because that's what they do. They do it out of respect for other people. Yeah. When it comes to social distancing and keeping those behaviors up and not like forcing what we want to do, don't just do it for you, but out of respect for other people. So you want to be, courteous and mindful of the society as a whole, not just thinking about what you do and how you roll.
Absolutely. And I know you did answer earlier, but I do want to ask you again, because you're in a profession where you are a constant help and you're a constant giver to others. And right now there is an influx of people who need your assistance, who need your help. Everyone in your field. I have interviews lined up with Antoine later on to talk about. He works in the hospitals.
I saw him with the mask and the gloves. And
another friend, Gabby, who works in the field as well in these hospitals. How do the professionals who deal, this is what their job is, to help people cope and deal and form new habits and maintain new habits, how do you maintain your own wellness?
So me personally, I would say I definitely have been walking a whole lot more. Physical activity is important to me. I have a virtual trainer, so he used to be my trainer when I was in Detroit, 5-6 years ago, and he was kicking my butt back then. So now we doing it through Zoom, and he is still kicking my butt. Like, it's the same. I'm like, dude, wait. Like, I'm not 30 or 28 no more. Like, give me. So my point is, I'm still trying to keep these same habits because it's necessary for me. Like, I do need structure. I need people to hold me accountable. So those are some things that I put in place personally. I would say for other people as well, other professionals who are working, don't ignore what you're feeling. Like, I think sometimes we know something is there, or we feel like, but we try to suppress it. Just acknowledge it. Say it. Like, look, hey bro, I'm struggling. Hey sis, can we talk? Hey, I need a day off. Like, so the same. And I think right now we're not taking leave. Like, people are not taking days off because they feel like, well, I don't want to just take it off and be at home. You might need to. Like, I've seen people take days off and they come back to work looking 1,000 times better. Me personally, I remember I took time off and I didn't go anywhere. And one of my employees said, "Man, you look good." And I said, "I just been off."
It's important. Like, it's so important to really take this time and do nothing. If you are to me, and I understand, like, what I think is interesting is, and I respect and truly admire anyone in the field of where you have to give of yourself so much. and take on, and people just dump on you, that I really wonder, this is what I wonder about, like, what are they doing? How are they handling? Because forget about the whole empath thing. This is what you do. Like, people are reaching out to you, probably inboxing, emailing, I need, and you have people who truly need weekly appointments. They need medication to maintain certain things. And this is and who can't handle change really well. They don't accept it.
Right.
And being there for them, because you may be having a bad day. And I wonder, like you said, just have those good habits and do what you need to do to decompress. Absolutely.
One thing that I learned, I was watching Bashe Williams go live for a conversation. He was talking about how he has a self-care day where, like, that the entire Monday he doesn't even answer the phone, or he just kind of like, that's his day to reset and do. And I was like, man, I was amazed because he picked Monday, because typically Monday is like, that's go.
Right.
But then also to think about, like, if you see texts and phone calls and emails and you don't respond for an entire day. But he also said, I think people get used to it. So then they know, look, don't call, like, you don't call your barber on Monday or Sunday. You don't call your hairdresser on it. So you get used to that. So as mental health professionals, we have to do the same thing. Like, we have to pick a day and time what works for us and set that boundary. And I just really, I was amazed.
Setting those boundaries are really important. Yeah, setting boundaries are really, really important. Absolutely. Jason, I want to say thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you, Arlene. I always love coming on your show.
I know, and you need to be here. You know what? I may need to come visit my niece in North Carolina and just come out there.
Hey, we got to make it happen.
And sit on your couch and have you just help my brain. But what I do want to do is definitely highlight you and say to you once again, thank you for making my first full year of podcasting of this show of Shall You Proceed great, because you have been a favorite. I can call on you and give great advice and great insight on so many areas. And so I definitely want to highlight what you do on IG. I mean, you're blowing up. Are you blowing up? Like, you're blowing up. Besides,
no, I appreciate
advice right now on this situation. I know you've been taking care of yourself and others and family and friends and all of that. And you're always so willing, and clearly you have great habits and maintain and keep your own self-care going and wellness. But let's talk about what you've been pumping out every week. Either your own stuff or you're on other people's stuff. When I first met you, I don't think you were doing as much as you're doing.
No, I mean, because it was like a year ago. I would just I don't even have time, and it's not like I'm trying to toot my horn, but it's hard for me to keep up with, like, just posting and engaging, because I normally, I'm going live and I'm seeing clients, or so yeah, it's definitely a blessing. I remember, kind of begging you to get on your show, so I was thrilled when I got that opportunity.
You didn't have to beg too hard at all. you just have to beg.
I'm just saying, but it's really been fun though.
That's good. So please let the people know what you do, what you're offering, your group coaching, where we can find you, and what you do week to week.
Yeah, so every week, you can find me live on Facebook and Instagram, Tuesdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. And on those days, I'm answering questions. I'm giving out tips about different things. The next things I have coming up, I'm doing a Trust Yourself series, because what I found is that, we have trouble trusting ourselves. So I'm going to have a panel of speakers. We're going to talk about, we're going to share personal stories of how we were able to trust ourselves. Then we're going to dive into relationships. How do you trust yourself in a relationship? How do you trust yourself when it comes to finances? And we're going to touch on food.
Lord.
So yeah, that's going to kick off on May 4th.
All virtual.
All virtual. It'll all be on IG.
Okay.
All virtual. The day before that, May 3rd, I don't know if you saw, I did the Wear Confidence series with Blank Wardrobe. We're going to do a recap, just kind of talk about how people are doing since they joined the webinar. What did they learn throughout the series? We're going to kick that off on May 3rd, that Sunday. So that's right before the series starts. We'll recap it with Venus. I'm super excited about that. And then just in general, people can reach out if they want individual coaching. They can always shoot me a DM or visit my website, pmpcoach.com. And I have started a group coaching program. That's on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. I know y'all Central. So that's gonna I'm letting new members come in. May 6th is gonna be the new program is starting up. So
let me just point out how exhausted you look talking about you were like, whew.
It's a lot. I do have a.
When you say it out loud, right? It's like, huh.
Yeah, it's a lot. I have an assistant now helping me, which is great.
Oh my God. Amen. Because I want one, but I'm clearly nowhere near needing one. But I would love to have an intern. You're not gonna get paid.
Yeah, get one because it's a lifesaver.
I need someone to edit videos now for me, post for me on social media, all types. Jason, I am so honored to have met you last year. I'm honored that you even entertained being on this show. I truly appreciate all of it. I want to say thank you again because you'll be on the show many times. I don't care.
No thanks needed. I'm just ready to come out there and sit down and get
everybody
some of that good
met
food.
Network with. Did you say food?
The food. That's what I have my restaurants lined up. I was like, okay, let me save
you were
this.
Like, hey y'all, where should I go eat? Like, Jason, calm down. Calm down. I was going to get us tickets to go see who was in town? It was Lila James, I think, was in town.
Oh.
And I was like, that'd be cool. I want to see who else wanted to go because tickets were like really cheap. I said, that'd be cool. We'll record. And then the studio was like right next to, like almost close to the place. And all that.
I love concerts.
Yeah, cause I know you told me you like concerts. I'm like, yeah, he can't come out here and not go experience some music. But absolutely. So what I'll do, I want to let everyone know that everything he just said will be in the description. His website, where to find him, his IG link, his Facebook links, his website, and look at the flyer towards the end of the video that I have put up for his Wednesdays.
Yep,
Wednesday starting, and we'll also try to have a link put up with a list of coping mechanisms and things you can do to get through this. I want to say, Jason, thank you so much for
Thank you, Arlene. I appreciate it.
Even though you was 8 minutes late coming on, talking about.
I always try to line myself up. You know, we got the code.
Don't try to get pretty. Don't try to get pretty. Don't pretty Ricky, what you call him. Don't try to get pretty. But I want to say thank you so much for being my first virtual at-home guest. I'm so nervous. So hopefully this comes out okay. Oh my God.
No, this was good. I had fun.
Good. So I want to say thank everyone for tuning in. You can catch Shall You Proceed podcast on all streaming platforms: Apple, Spotify, Google, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel because this video will be up on YouTube. The audio will be up, and I'll also put it on Facebook. So hopefully I'll get this dropped pretty soon. And stay tuned. We have some great shows coming up in the series about surviving COVID-19. Thank you so much.